I play a lot of different video games on a regular basis, and naturally, I can't be amazing at every single one of them. Sure, I can be decent enough at a select few games, but every now and again, I'm bound to lose. And I'm used to that. Sometimes I even enjoy losing. I have a fair share of highlights in my life that involve me winning something, but I also have a fair share of highlights that involve me losing something. And for those reasons, I don't often find myself getting angry when I lose. I usually laugh off a loss and get ready for the next match, or at most, I'll be salty for a little bit about a loss, and then I will just eventually shrug it off. The thing is though, with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, things have been starting to feel a bit different. I lose Smash Bros. Matches all the time. I made that evident during my opening statements of my first episode of this series, Road to Sakurai. I normally don't care about losing, but as of late, my losses have started to impact me more and more negatively. Why is that? Is it because I feel a lack of growth? Is it because I'm constantly reminded of how I have yet to reach my goal of one day meeting Super Smash Bros. Series creator Masahiro Sakurai? Well, the short answer to all of that is, yes, that's exactly it. But why do I care now? I created this Road to Sakurai series knowing that there'd be hardships and that I would encounter many struggles. But I guess it was inevitable that my losses would add up and start impacting my way of thinking. So, for today's video, I'd like to discuss my current state of mind and how my constant state of defeat has, in a way, been starting to get to me.
Game!
Hello humans, I'm Yoshiller, and welcome back to some more Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Road to Sakurai! You know, you'd think that after putting over 330 hours into this game, mind you, that's just the time that my Nintendo Switch said, that's not the amount of time that I spent at tourneys or playing the game before it came out, that I'd at least be somewhat decent at Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. But at the moment, I have no major accomplishments, no medals, no trophies, no significant victories, nada, zip, zop, nothing. While I suppose that I'm still continuing to grow as a player, I still feel like a bit of a dunce when it comes to playing this game. In layman's terms, when I try to perform certain specific things, those certain specific things don't always happen. But there's just so much going on in one game of Super Smash Bros. That I don't always know what my most optimal reaction should be. And it seems like, more often than not, I'm picking the wrong choice when I react. But I often wonder if there are some choices that I could choose that I'm unaware of? If I wanted to, I could boil down Super Smash Bros. To the simple mechanics of attacking and blocking, but obviously there's a lot more aspects to this game than that. In just one competitive match, there's aspects of playing neutral disadvantage and advantage states, proper spacing, ledge guarding, two-framing, recovering, hitbox data, extended hitboxes and hurt boxes, plus or minus on shield, combos that only connect at certain percentages, kill confirms, teching, tech chasing, making reads, directional influencing, matchups among 70 plus characters, and there are probably a lot more things, but those are just the aspects that have popped into my head. Some players seem to be masters of all these components, but me? I don't know, I guess I get lucky from time to time, but I can't always keep track of all these things. The best way to shield punish, the best way to edge guard, I think I know these things, but evidently I don't. Sometimes when I play, it's like this inner demon takes over me and is super coordinated and knows exactly what to do and secures the victory like it's no problem. Then there are other situations where I get KO'd super easily and it's like I don't know what I'm doing. But what aspects don't I know about? And what are aspects that I personally need to improve on? Well, besides all of them. What I mean is there one aspect that I can focus on right now that would significantly improve my overall playstyle? Is bad spacing or bad edge guarding what's ruining me more than anything else? Is the simple fact that I don't know hitbox data keeping me from consistently winning matches? While I'm sure it's important to master all of these techniques, I can only master them one at a time, right? I can practice all of them at once, but I should probably focus on individual areas so that I can use those areas to my advantage. So yes, it is important to master every single technique in the game, but I also believe that excelling at one specific technique, such as maybe edge guarding, could theoretically be enough to defeat a fair share of other players. One player's skill is another player's weakness, right? But let's bring this back around. I don't think I particularly excel at any one specific skill since I'm inconsistent. And on the same thought, I don't know what my biggest glaring weakness is either. Am I consistently lacking in one area, or am I inconsistent overall and lacking in all areas? I'm sure it's the latter, and yeah, that bums me out. I'm not good at one specific area. It's hard to say. But I can say that I have a better understanding of certain mechanics now than I did back when I first played the game back in 2018. But I am better at things like tech chasing now than I was at the beginning of the game. So the improvement is there, but I'm still losing consistently. So I am improving, but I'm not improving as quickly as everyone else is in this game. I'm falling behind, and I don't know if I can catch up. And so, upon losing a match, people that watch me might immediately say something along the lines of, "Why did you go for that? Why did you do that? Why didn't you do this?" I don't know. There are so many things to consider. Obviously, it's easy to look back at a match and see what I did wrong, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the next time I play, I'll know what to do. There's so many things to consider all at once. Even if I try to change up my playstyle in a follow-up match, that's not a guarantee that the stuff I try will work. For example, I competed in a local Smash tourney and I played against a competitive Joker player. For the most part, I believe I was pretty patient with my gameplay style, and there were moments where I just wait, hanging on a ledge, trying to distance myself, all of that. I played defensively, but in the end, I was outplayed and the Joker player won the first game. In the next match, I played a bit more aggressively, and while that started to work, I wound up blowing a 3-1 lead just because I was outplayed. Now I get it. It happens. I'm gonna get outplayed, and I can't beat everyone. And when I lose, I never really get mad. I usually just thank the player for the match and continue on with the day. But as someone who wants to improve at this game and become more skillful with my playstyle, I can't help but reflect on some of my losses and feel a bit sad that I don't feel like I'm improving. I'll play some sets and feel like I didn't learn anything. And it's hard to grow as a player in just one set because my opponents are technically growing with each game that we play too. Just saying that I got outplayed isn't sufficient information to me. I need to know how to learn and improve on the spot. And I just feel like I have a hard time learning, and therefore, I have a hard time improving. Now, it is true that I have improved in this game since I first started playing it back when it released in 2018. Heck, I made an entire video about this. And if I were to compare gameplay from one of my older matches alongside gameplay from one of my more recent matches, it'd be apparent that I've learned some different gameplay styles and techniques that have aided me in some of my matches. Some prime examples include me playing a bit more aggressively as Yoshi and Ice Climbers, and a bit more defensively with Little Mac and Banjo. I even had another video in this series where I talked about struggling to improve in the game, and by the end of it, I realized that there were some pretty simple, obvious things that I could do. Mix up my recovery, approach with different attacks, practice certain combos. My so-called solutions at the time were pretty straightforward. But as I play the game more and more and face tougher and tougher opponents, there are becoming less and less blatant solutions. It's kind of like comparing homework to a quiz. You can do all of the math homework you want and get all the answers correct, but when the quiz comes along, sometimes you might not be able to know how to apply all of the stuff you learned from the homework. You might get some answers correct, but you'll still screw stuff up. So I figured that one of the best things I could try to do and learn how to better play my set of characters is to see how other high-ranking players play them. And these players move so elegantly. A truly competitive Smash match looks so different than the types of matches that I typically play, and when a competitive player loses a game in a set, it's like they immediately know where their mistakes are. I might think I know what my mistakes were, and even if I truly did know what my mistakes were, I don't know how to correct them. The opponents that often defeat me are either highly skilled Smash players who seem to know my every move and can predict everything I'm going to do, or are players that can rely on the same 1 or 2 attacks and expect me not to know what to do against them. I'll have players use the same 1 or 2 moves over and over and over and over, and it seems so obvious. Oh, they're gonna do that move. Don't get hit by it. And yet, I don't know how to adapt. Like, what am I supposed to do? No, seriously, like, what am I supposed to do? How do I beat this Cloud player? Or this Byleth player? Or this Luigi player? Or this Bayonetta player? Do I just have to wait for my opponent to screw up? Or do I just need to get lucky and hope that something beyond my control happens? Although I guess while we're on the subject matter, I do want to share this funny clip.
Game!
Nice. I refuse to believe that there's simply nothing I can do, and hearing answers like, oh, that's just a bad matchup for Yoshi, or, oh, Banjo can't really do much here, isn't too helpful. Even if these are bad matchups for me, what do I do to help even the odds? Just accepting the fact that the odds are against me isn't useful advice since I need to constantly play against the odds to improve anyway. Some might say, oh, just use this move, or just do this. But when I do it, it doesn't work. My opponents can outsmart me, but I can't outsmart my opponents. I just simply can't learn how to do just one simple thing to make me play better. I can play a matchup a dozen times and just not learn a thing. I can't get around stuff like this, and it's disheartening. I feel dumb. If I can't beat a spammer, how am I supposed to beat someone who is much more versatile? And I know that there's not just going to be one simple answer. That's kind of the whole point of competitive Smash matches. But like, Losing to spammers, losing because I don't know what to do against one specific attack, and losing because I tried everything I knew and none of it worked. I'll still lose to people who are picking random characters in battle arenas, so I'm clearly doing something improperly if someone can just pick up a random character and beat me. Clearly I'm the one that's wrong and that's messing stuff up. And I don't know what or why, and that's why it hurts. And that's why this is all getting to me. It's one thing if I lose a match because I self-destructed or had a missed input, because at least I can immediately understand what I did incorrectly. And then I do things I feel should connect, but then they wind up being predictable and I lose and I just can't react quickly enough. I feel so slow and clueless. Maybe this game is just too fast and too advanced for me. I still love playing this game. I still love the Smash franchise. I'm determined to learn more. I really am. But I just want it to be clear that as I continue, I'm becoming more and more, let's say, emotionally corrupted. These constant losses have started to weigh on me, more so than usual. Whereas before I could maintain my composure after a match, now I'm starting to feel a bit bitter after even the smallest loss. These losses are starting to change my emotions, and I think that may have to do with the feeling of increasing pressure of growing as a Smash player. I feel the need to invest more time into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate than in the other games that I regularly play because I have an important end goal that I'm trying to achieve with this game. But that end goal appears to be growing more and more distant with each time I lose. It's unfortunate because I don't feel like I'm getting closer and closer each time I win, but I feel further away from my goal every time I lose. And I know, I shouldn't let a simple loss impact my state of thinking, but that's just how it is right now. It's the fact that I keep losing and the fact that I struggle to learn anything after my losses that's keeping me down. I fear that it's only a matter of time before I become the type of guy that rages at a loss and throws my controller at a wall. I hope it never gets to that point, and I know I would never do something like that now, but I fear that that's something that could happen in the future. I don't want my negative emotions to consume me. I want to get better at the game and feel better about how I play, whether I'm victorious or not. But I can't yet seem to feel more confident about my playstyle because I'm lacking in improvement. It's quite difficult to pursue a competitive career with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I know that there are tons and tons of players that already do so, but that's also part of the problem. There are a lot of players out there that want to get good at this game. Millions, in fact. But we can't all be top players, right? If we were all top players, then we'd technically all be at the same skill level, and thus nobody would stand out. And in a way, the whole point of me playing this game and making this Road to Sakurai series is to stand out. If my goal of meeting Masahiro Sakurai were easy, then it wouldn't really be worth making a series about it, right? With that said, if there were a more simple opportunity to meet the guy, then I'd gladly take it. But as it stands, I went into this series knowing that it'd be difficult. I was hoping that if I just kept practicing that I'd continue to improve, but how much practice do I need? I guess, to put it bluntly, pursuing a competitive career has proven to be more tedious than I anticipated. So even though the name of this section is Difficulty of Pursuing a Competitive Career, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm trying to make a competitive career out of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, as I feel that that would imply that I'm trying to make a living off of playing the game. Sure, I'm trying to make a living off of making videos of the game, but winning tourneys for money isn't my intention. Winning tourneys for publicity and Sakurai's attention is. But for the sake of conversation, we'll use the term competitive career to describe someone that is attempting to invest time, money, and resources in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in an attempt to become more professional and competitive with it, which is myself. I suppose that the term career doesn't have to mean that you're making money off of it. You just want to be known for being good at Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which again describes me. And as someone who is trying to become more professional and competitive with the game, I play the game a lot. Granted, in the past few weeks I haven't been playing the game as often as I used to. I was previously trying to play the game for at least an hour every night, but that commitment has slipped through my schedule in exchange for trying to play Animal Crossing New Horizons for an hour every day in an attempt to create daily videos out of it. So while I do often play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I'm more so playing the game while I export videos. But even then, I acknowledge that that may not be enough time devotion to the game to accomplish what I want. But in addition to practicing for an hour each night, I was also attending a local tournament every week known as Wednesday Night Fights. I even tried attending 1 or 2 other local tournaments each week so that I could get more practice in. And I've discussed these tourneys in my Road to Sakurai series in the past, as they're fun and competitive events. However, there exists a bit of a struggle in attending these events all the time. In addition to needing to set down more time with the game, I was going to need to set down something else if I wanted to pursue my goal: money. Generally speaking, entering a tourney such as Wednesday Night Fights costs roughly $15 between the venue fee and the registration fee. Now, for a night's worth of fun and practice, that's a reasonable price. But to pay for that every week, that adds up. You're talking about spending $60 a month just to practice Smash, and while you could win the tourney and get your money back, those odds are slim. More often than not, more devoted players are going to win, and it's usually the same group of people that'll keep winning. So for them, since they've already devoted so much time, money, and resources toward the game, they're already so far ahead that newcomers will really need to invest a lot of time and money if they want to stay in their league. For the record, that $60 price point only applies to one local tourney. If I wanted to participate in multiple local events each week, such as Mega Smash Mondays or Hollywood Action Tuesdays or Club Smash, then I need to shell out more money. And despite what it may seem, I'm not a rich guy. I can't keep going to those tourneys every week, because I simply can't afford all of that. And that's not even counting the more major tourneys that pop up that charge $50 for the entry fee. And the majors are important too. If you want to get competitive at Super Smash Bros., you gotta attend a major, right? And that's what got me thinking. If I gotta budget my money, then how much practice each week is enough? There's also travel prices to consider. If I want to go far, I might even need to book a hotel. And mind you, I've done all of this already, so I speak from experience. Remember, the first tourney I went to, I traveled all the way from Los Angeles to Modesto. Did I have a good time? Yes, but I can't do that all the time, you know? I need to pick and choose my battles. Somewhat literally, as I'm choosing where I want to battle and against whom I can potentially play. But even outside of attending events, I need to follow gaming news as well. Naturally, I'll need to see what new characters appear in the game, and I'll need to adapt as each one is added. And of course, I'll likely have to purchase each DLC pack too, which is again, more money. But until the game has all of its characters released, nothing is going to remain completely steady. And even then, there could always be a mix-up in the competitive scene. Maybe once every character is released and it's been a year or two since the game is finished, some guy might get really good at playing as Rosalina and start beating everybody. And then we'll all have to prepare for this Rosalina guy every time he shows up at an event. And you might say, come on, Yoshiller, that won't happen. And to that I'll say, are you sure? Because with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's almost as if that's exactly what the developers want to happen. If you recall, I attended EVO Japan not too long ago, and the most common characters in that tournament were drastically different than the most common characters here in the United States. The top players of EVO Japan used Duck Hunt and Olimar. Those characters are rarely ever seen in America. So all it would take is for one Japanese player to regularly attend American tournaments to throw us all off. And that brings me back to my point. There's a constant need to adapt in this game. Under normal circumstances, that's a good thing. But there's this constant need to keep up, and in order to do that, I have to keep practicing, and I have to keep utilizing my time, money, and resources effectively. And as I've established, money can be a real issue with attending local tournaments all the time. Even practicing from home can be expensive too. Practicing online means needing to have a steady internet connection, and that's not always cheap. I'll touch on this specific topic later on in this video, but in short, if you don't have a steady internet connection, some people will simply refuse to play against you. Heck, even Smash sometimes won't let you play at all. You will not be able to play the game if your internet is not good enough. Now, I acknowledge that there are possibilities of practicing in the game's training mode and fighting against computer players, and I acknowledge that the computer players can actually be good sparring partners since they'll almost always tech your moves and recover flawlessly. So that settles it. I'm trying to get the best practice I can get for as cheaply as possible. But for the sake of conversation, let's say that money wasn't an issue and that I could attend as many local tourneys as I wanted with relative ease. Even with unlimited access to practicing, there would still be some glaring issues that would need to be addressed. And those glaring issues are more prominent to me now as I'm trying to improve in this game, and I simply haven't been. But if these issues were to be addressed, maybe I could get better at the game. But alright, what are these issues? I'll regularly attend local tourneys and play for an hour each day, but is that enough practice in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate to help me improve? Well, some might say that depends on how you're practicing, and that's the problem. I find it hard to find a reliable method of practicing where I can feel as though I've improved after I've finished playing for a bit. Whether I choose to play locally or online, there are problems that players may not even consider. Let's start by discussing some of the issues of practicing at local tourneys. Ideally, practicing at some sort of event or tourney is the best way to practice since, well, that's just about how you'll be playing instead of enter tourney anyway. The players that are there are also practicing and are also likely competing, and therefore you're bound to get a good sense of what you'll be up against. But practice setups are often crowded. This can often result in multiple players, say 4, 5, or even 6 players, utilizing one setup. And when that happens, the common mindset is that the winner stays in. And so if you're playing in a group of 4 or 5 or 6 players and you lose, you'll have to wait 3 matches or 4 matches or 5 matches before you can play again. This is an issue for me because I just want to keep playing. I don't necessarily want to wait 10 to 20 minutes before I can play again. And then when I play, I might wind up losing immediately, not learning anything, and then I gotta wait another 10 or 20 minutes. Now, I could study how my opponents play in between matches, but the thing is, I can't really do that in an actual tournament, right? There's no 10-minute break in between matches where my opponent and I go fight someone else and then we study each other's matches. I need to be able to study my opponents while I get to play. So I want to keep playing so that I can apply what I've learned immediately. Point is, I don't mind waiting to play a match, but I do mind having to wait 20 to 30 minutes just to play my 2 to 3 minute match and and then repeating the cycle over and over again. You know what I mean? But there's another problem beyond just having to wait for a match. All of the problems I mentioned only exist if you're even able to find the setup that will let you hop on. Some people only want to practice with their friends, or some people don't want to do a winner stays in style. They only want to play against the same one player and not let anyone else hop on. And you know what? That's fair to me, since that's how I'd prefer to practice too. But then I acknowledge that, well, if everyone's doing that, then I don't really get to practice at all. Yes, you can arrive to a setup early and play to your heart's content, but if you need to get up or leave it all, your spot is gonna get taken. So if you arrive early, you better be ready to play for 2 or 3 hours before your tourney match starts, or else the second you take a break, you're done practicing. And you may find yourself in a scenario where the only way you can immediately hop back onto a setup is to play a money match. You know, where you pay someone $5 or $10 or $20 just to play one match or one set of matches. Well, here's my advice. Don't do this. Don't spend money to play one set of matches. I played money matches just because I was desperate to play, and I lost in a matter of seconds, and I didn't learn anything, and then I was out $10, and then I just had to let the next money match player hop on anyway. So the thing is, these money match players won't even accept your challenge if you're a regular tourney winner anyway. They want people like me who are hoping to improve, and then they'll beat me, and then they'll get their money, while I get nothing. So I, Yoshiller, say that it's better to try and make friends at these events rather than trying to make money. Anyway, those are just my personal beliefs and my own personal problems. I acknowledge that I have it easier than some other players. I know some players might not even be able to get to a practice setup at a tournament. But these are technically all problems that have to do with actually practicing at a tourney. I do feel that tourneys are the ideal location to practice, but in actuality, you can practice anywhere. The Nintendo Switch is a portable system after all, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has some easy accessibility to it. But for me, it's a bit difficult to practice outside of an event. I have some local friends outside of the Smash community that occasionally play Smash, but they think I'm too good at the game, or at the very least that I'm too good compared to them. And as a result, that means that they don't really want to play in a serious one-on-one match against me. They'll always say, oh, I'm not really good at this game, and then they don't want to play. But then at Smash events, I'm so low ranking that many players who don't know me don't have too much interest in practicing against me, and they'd rather play with their friends or against top ranking players. It's a weird middle ground to be in. Normally I kinda like being a jack of all trades, but this time it's working against me. So that brings us to the discussion of online practice. And practicing online poses its own fair share of problems. There's two methods of practicing online: Battle Arenas and Global Smash. Or Elite Smash as it's called for you elitists out there. Ho-ho! Let's start with Battle Arenas. Battle Arenas function as this game's method of a friend room, and when playing with lots of friends, it's a very efficient way to get matches going. But when you're playing with random players, there are a few issues. For starters, Battle Arenas either have too many players in them or are too inactive. And if I try to host my own battle arena, I'll seldom have anyone actually join them until I take to social media and announce that I'm hosting one. So that often leaves me with having to join one of the more crowded arenas, and the biggest issue with that is the same issue as trying to practice at a local event. You have to win to stay in, and if you lose, you gotta wait 10 to 30 minutes before you can even play one game again. However, battle arenas are a bit more inconvenient because beyond having to wait for your match, players are often in such a rush to start the next match that if you want to change your character or stage preference, then you have to lose your place in line, and you rarely get to spectate the upcoming match because players press start so quickly and don't wait for you to get back in line. And if you do lose your place in line, nobody's really generous enough to let you go back to where you were. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, if your internet is even slightly laggy, you won't be able to play. Now, if a match is really laggy, I get it. But if there's even a slight tint of lag, some players will get so offended, cancel a match, and kick you out. Look, I'm gonna be real with you. At this point, I'm far beyond the point of expecting an online match to go perfectly, and I guess that's easy for me to say because I don't have a wired connection. But a lot of the matches that I do play online go pretty smoothly. Most of the gameplay footage in this video comes from matches that I recorded online. Yes, I've played laggy matches, but in my experience, I've played more matches without lag than those that have had lag. Now, if you're the type of person that regularly plays online matches and regularly plays local matches, then yes, you would notice some differences that can admittedly be pretty major in the long run. But as it stands, practicing online is all I've got right now, and in the grand scheme of things, I think my connection has been reliable enough for me to play matches relatively smoothly. But that isn't to say that there aren't laggy matches, and I don't always know if it's me or my opponent that's having the connection issues. But once in a blue moon, I will find what I dub to be a perfect battle arena, where the host will be a skilled player that's on equal or slightly higher footing than me. The internet speed will be reliable, players will respect one another and wait for each other to change characters, and the overall vibe in the arena is a just chillin' kind of vibe. I'll play 6, 7, or 8 matches in a row, winning and losing, and everyone in the arena will react in a professional manner. But those types of arenas are so far and few between that I feel as though the players that are respectful enough should get some sort of shout out. So, shout outs to Scott 2B for being a respectful and respectable Yoshi player. See how he's not in a rush to immediately start the next match and how he gives me a chance to change characters? Yeah, good guy. But I will admit, there is a charm to joining a battle arena with 8 players. I generally only prefer these types of arenas when I'm playing with friends, but sometimes I can get some nice B-roll footage of other people playing while I wait for my match. But I have to be in the right mindset, and I have to be in the right mood to wait for a long time and sit through so many matches before I even play mine. So I don't do this very often, and I think my time is better spent finding smaller arenas. But besides the amount of players that join these arenas, there's also the personalities of each of these players, and there are some salty players, man. If you win one match, you might get kicked out by a salty host. If you come close to winning one match, you might get kicked out by a salty host. If one player screws up one move in a match, they will self-destruct 2 more times and kick you out of the match. Or I don't know, maybe there's some prejudice and my opponents don't like fighting Yoshi or Ice Climbers or Little Mac or Banjo, and I'll get kicked out for that reason. I'll never know, but I know it's not always an internet issue. When the arena gets closed or when I get kicked out, I get booted back to the arena selection menu. Whereas if it's an internet issue, then I get kicked back to the home menu. So I can tell when someone's kicking me out of their arena. I know it's not always these players being salty, maybe I do just join in at a coincidental time when people plan to close these arenas anyway, but I've definitely seen some salt. So local events will always be a better place to practice than a battle arena, but a battle arena is still a great place to practice at all, especially when those Scott 2B type of arenas pop up. But say you don't want to practice in a battle arena. You just want to play matches quickly, you don't care who you're up against. Well, the other quick and dirty way to practice online is through Global Smash. Most people often refer to this mode as Elite Smash, but I've been kicked out of Elite Smash so many times that I'm just going to refer to this mode as Global Smash for the time being. On the one hand, with this mode, there is an option where you can have the game look for matches in the background while you play in the game's training mode or something, and that's pretty neat. But on the other hand, Global Smash's biggest flaw is that you don't always know what type of match you're going to get until right before it starts. You can set your preferred rules and you'll almost always get paired with someone that has the same rule set or something close to it. But every once in a while, you'll find a player with an absurd rule set who just wants to time you out or annoy you so that they can score an easy win.
1, go! Game!
How was that? Was that fun? I get the vibe that the players in Global Smash are more concerned about getting each of their characters into Elite Smash status than they are with actually getting better with the preferred characters and their movesets. So I mean, alright, there's only so much I can do. I'll have to beat them at their own game. It just sucks when I keep getting my opponent's rule set 3-4 times in a row and I don't even get my own rule set before they leave. I guess people really do care about their overall ranking, or GSP as the game calls it. And how does GSP work again? According to the Smash development team, GSP stood for Global Smash Power, and the amount of points you have is relative to how many players you're better than. So if I have 6 million points, does that mean that I'm better than 6 million players? And if so, really? Am I really better than 6 million players? I find that hard to believe, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, and players in Global Smash and Elite Smash rarely stick around for rematches. In recording footage for this episode, after playing over 20 matches in a row, whether I won or lost, with and without lag, not a single player wanted to rematch. I hit rematch every single time, but none of my opponents also hit the rematch button. When I play online, I generally prefer to play best 2 out of 3, but I get that not every player wants to do that. But to play 20 matches in a row and nobody wants to rematch is a little suspicious to me. See, I'd have thought that if someone beat me, then my opponents would want to play again in order to score another easy win. Or if someone lost, that someone would want revenge on me. But no, people want to take their one win or their one loss and flee. And so, I have a hard time practicing certain character matchups because usually I can only get one match in before my opponent decides to leave. And it's also worth noting that once you make it into Elite Smash, you can't rematch the person you just played. From there, you have to play against Elite Smash players. And if you play your first Elite Smash match and lose, you can't rematch that player either. So even if I did want to play against some players again, sometimes I'm just too good, or just too bad, depending on how you see it. And look, people don't have to rematch, but it makes it difficult for me to practice certain matchups or to adapt to certain playstyles when matchups are changing every 5 minutes or so. And while the same could be said about battle arenas, at least some players are still trying to get back in and play rematches. And players in battle arenas might be salty, but players in Global Smash are just disrespectful. But I will admit, when I beat an agitating player, it does feel pretty good. Oh, one other complaint. For the love of humanity, please change your song choices. I get it, there are over 100 stages in the game, so it can take hours to alter every single stage's song preferences. So you don't have to alter all of them, but please, if you have to alter one, please alter your F-Zero music on Port Town Aerodive. If I have to hear F-Zero medley on Port Town Aerodive one more time, I might have to turn into a salty player myself and just self-destruct over and over. Look, it's a nice enough song, but I don't need to hear it every time I go to that stage. And I know some people might think, oh, well, I don't need to change the music on that stage. It's not even a turning legal stage anyway. Please, just do it. It might still show up when you play all Omega stages or all Battlefield stages. Just change the F-Zero music. There are so many great F-Zero songs. You don't even have to pick the songs I picked. Just please pick something that's not the default song. Okay, rant's over. So online matches do allow for a chance of growth, whether they be through global Smash matches or battle arenas. I know that the online reputation of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is often seen as being, well, we'll just say bad and call it a day, but there are positives to be gained from it. But when I play online, I have to hope that I can either find a small-sized battle arena with a decent host, or a random player with a decent amount of respect and professionalism. And unfortunately, those things are hard to come by. For now, it looks like this is all I've got, and I've just got to keep losing until I can start consistently winning. And so, here I am now, with so many things to learn in this game, and yet no real efficient way to learn them. I want to practice in this game as much as I can, but anytime I try to practice, there's always some sort of technical difficulty or issue that I just have to work around. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I wish it wasn't so inconvenient either. I can dissect my previous matches all I want and see what I did right and what I did wrong, but the best thing I can do, really, is just to keep playing and hope for the best. But at the same time, I can't just hope that I get better either. I have to try different things. I have to see what works and what doesn't work. It's a constant cycle in my head, and yet it's a cycle that I must endure. Did every other top Smash player have to go through all this? Obviously, they had to learn all the mechanics of this game at some point, but was it this frustrating for them? I'm still enjoying the game, but like I said, I wish that there were just some minor things that would make my life so much easier. Some basic things that would allow me to better understand certain mechanics. As it stands, I'll work with what I have. And I'll just have to keep playing online and live with the frustrations that it provides just so that I can squeeze the benefits out of it. But how many more losses will it take before I improve? How many more losses can I take before my emotions burst? How much more time do I need to put into this game, and how much more can I do with the time, money, and resources that I have available to me? And I've already put hundreds of hours into this game. I thought that would be a sufficient amount, but clearly it's not enough. Not to put down any other players, but look at some of the hours that other players in this game have. I've got nothing on players like this. With any luck, all of my knowledge and actions within this game will be performed subconsciously, and I won't have to think about what I'm doing anymore. But I think that's a long ways off. I'm still thinking too much. Maybe that's the trick, is to not think so much. But then, I feel like I should be thinking more about certain situations. It's so confusing. What am I supposed to be doing? Thinking more or thinking less? What's the middle ground? Is there a middle ground? Well, either way, whether I'm supposed to think or not, I need to learn. Thinking and learning are two different things in my opinion. And so, I make these Road to Sakurai videos so that I can document my thoughts at a given time in my journey. And the more episodes of this series I make, the more I realize how long it's taken for me to complete my goal. And while yes, I have improved at the game since I first started this journey, I don't think I'm any closer to my goal now than I was at the beginning in December 2018. I'm not really getting results from making this series, right? There's the possibility that I'll never meet Sakurai and that the point of each of these videos will wind up being pointless. As each episode of Road to Sakurai comes out, I'm reminded that I have yet to actually complete my goal, and that I may never actually complete my task. It's nice to see different points of the game's life and my life through this series, but I really want a conclusive ending where I meet Sakurai so that I can say, this is what it took. This is what the series is. It took 30-something episodes and I finally got my goal. I hope that I can properly conclude this series one day and that this episode will be seen as nothing more than a low point in my competitive career, but who knows? For the time being, I'm going to remain stubborn and say that if I don't try, then there's absolutely no possibility that I'll meet Sakurai, so that if I at least try, there is a chance, even if it is incredibly minimal. And I know that there is a chance because I witnessed other players accomplish my goal firsthand when I attended EVO Japan. They're leagues above me, but they proved that they can do it. So maybe if I get to that level, I can meet Sakurai too. I would love for people to associate me with Super Smash Bros. And for people to associate Super Smash Bros. With me. But as it stands, people only remember those who win and those who are different. So if I'm gonna fail, I may as well fail differently. At least I can try to be remembered that way. But I just want this continuous nightmare of losses and negative emotions to end. This thought of not mattering because I'm just some big loser. This thought of never mattering because I can't win. This thought of never being able to achieve my goal because people will always be better than me. I'm tired of seeing that everything I'm doing is wrong. I'm tired of being so far beneath the top players and realizing that my chances of winning a tourney are growing more and more slim every day. I just want to meet Sakurai already! So, what was the point in saying all of this? What was the point of making this video? Well, one, Each episode of this series is supposed to serve as some sort of journal entry in my competitive career. I stated this in the first episode of the series. And this is just how I'm feeling now, and this is just my current so-called journal entry. And 2, it's a video that's being made with the hopes that I will improve one day. I hope that I one day have more positive emotions about my matches, and I hope that I can one day become a more skilled player, and I hope that I can one day look back at the video and say that I made it past this negative point in my competitive career. But if I let this game enrage me too much in the future, I can say that this is the point where it began. This is a documentation where I at least have some sort of stable mentality. I don't want to become angry with this game. I don't want that emotion to ever show with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in myself. So like I said, this video serves as a means of documentation, but hopefully things get brighter from here. Whether it's one day achieving my goal, inspiring others in the process, and or achieving some sort of other destiny that I'm currently unaware of, I hope that my road to Sakurai journey doesn't just result in an ultimate waste of time.
Game. Yoshi wins!
Hey, thank you for watching my video all the way to the end. If you want to show your support, one of the best things you can do is leave a comment down below. So if you have anything nice you want to say about the video, or if you have any questions, I'll try to respond to whatever I can at my earliest convenience. Either way, your support means a lot and I really appreciate it. I hope to see you all in the future. Bye-bye!